seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Oh, the man is out on the field. That's another knockdown. You know, Jim. You believe in miracles? Yes.
You are now listening to the All Things Sport Podcast with your hosts, Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio. Fellas, you know what to do.
What's happening? What's up? What's going on? It's the All Things Sport Podcast, and I'm Daimeon Banks.
And of course, I'm Pierre Banks.
Pierre, we are back. Another episode, another week. ATS, as I love to call it, the All Things Sport Podcast, where we, you and I, give our listeners all things sport. Pierre, great week in sports, as always.
Heck of a week.
We don't write the stories. We just give you our unique take on the stories. And I would say that we are the DJ Khaled of podcasting. We the best. How was your week, my friend?
Well, Damian, I was gonna start off by asking you, how was your week, man? I know I offended you last week by, jumping right into my feelings with Kobe, man, but can you blame me? I guess this week is going all right, man. It's a great week in sports, so that means it's a great week for myself. I got a birthday coming up tomorrow, baby. This is my last day in my raging 20s, so I'm trying to get it all out my system right now.
Can you believe it? Before I wish you a happy birthday, because your birthday is, April the 23rd, you were definitely in your feelings to start the show off last week, man.
But I'm owning it.
And you were, it's like you listened to Kevin Gates' song, I'm in my feelings. Like
I
Kobe,
you say, I got two phones.
Kobe has retired. He hung up his sneakers, man. He went out with 60, but you had to let it be known that you were like the biggest Kobe Bryant fan. I understand completely. That's your era. That's your generation, man. Salute to Kobe again as he hangs up his sneakers after a brilliant career, all with the LA Lakers, man. But, this thing we call sports, it's an ever-evolving situation in sports, man. So without further ado,
wait a minute, man. How you ain't gonna tell the people how you doing this week? So you jump all over me last week, and now you want to jump right into the hot topics, huh?
Well, Loxley will be. I'm doing kosher deal. I'm doing pretty good. I'm working, getting ready for the baby. Here in T minus, 3.5, 4 weeks. We don't know exactly. Right now it could be tomorrow. It could be next week. It could be the week after that. We don't know. And the wife and I, we're expecting, first child, a beautiful little girl. So, pretty much focused on that, focused on giving you podcasting gold, podcasting brilliance like we do every week. Other than that, man, just working towards greatness, man.
How's the tennis elbow, man?
Tennis elbow, it's getting better. I had, a little bit of physical therapy this past week. Shout out to my physical therapist, Gary, and Daniel, man, Duke PT. And, it's getting a little better. So I must say, kinesiology tape, whoever made that up, they're pure genius.
I have to say, man, I've known you my entire life, and you used to be a finely tuned athletic machine, man. Basketball, football, whatever you name, you could play. And I've never known you to be injured until after you stopped playing. What's that all about?
This about sums it up. Come at me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm knocking on 40's door, baby. When you get up there in age, when you start getting up there, you start feeling things a little bit more. And what it was with the tennis elbow, I waited too late to get it checked out. Usually I'm like, it'll go away in about a week or two. Then a week or two turned into a month. And then a month turned into, 2 months. So I was, it never went away. So scar tissue built up over it to where, now I have to go to physical therapy. So, it's getting better. Thanks for asking, man.
All those years of us playing badminton and you destroying me, even though we didn't have a net. We did have the badminton rackets and whatever you call the badminton ball, whatever that is, and you used to crush me. And I think this is just karma, man. It's just all those years of you picking on the little brother, and now you got what's coming to you.
I think my tennis elbow came from years of playing tennis with my twin brother Daimeon and our relative through marriage, Darcellus. I was the top-ranked amateur tennis player in Sherwood Park in Durham, North Carolina, for 3 straight summers. And I think it just pretty much, how can I say this without sounding too braggadocious, too arrogant? I was pretty much, like the top player in the state of North Carolina who didn't actually get paid to play tennis. So that's where my tennis elbow came from.
Hopefully that thing will heal up quick, man, because, you're going to be lifting up baby Loxley here pretty soon, changing diapers and doing all that good stuff, man. So we got to get you off the IR and back into the starting lineup relatively quickly, sir. I
really appreciate it, but don't count me out just yet, my friend. Don't count me out, man. I've looked on the internet. I've Googled deer antler spray, and I heard that it works wonders for joint pain. So I placed an order. It's coming from Thailand, so I'm waiting on that order to come now. So I'll let you guys know on next week's show whether deer antler spray works.
Yeah, and Peyton Manning, he does his training right here in Durham, North Carolina, where we're recording from today. So when he comes this summer, man, maybe you can holler at him and see whatever he took for his neck to get him back on the field. We can get you back in the saddle, man, doing what you're supposed to do.
No, Peyton Manning didn't take anything for his neck. What he did was he had Cooper Manning's neck removed and attached to his body, and he put his neck on Cooper's body. So, just to get a couple more years in the league, man. Salute to Peyton. He does anything to get on that field. He's enjoying his retirement now, riding off into the sunset after that Super Bowl win over the Panthers by the Denver Broncos.
I mean, unbelievable career. I'm not sure how he was able to do it for so long, especially being as unathletic as he looks. I'm not sure. Maybe he had a special amount of athleticism that he displayed on the field. But if you look at that dude, he just looks like somebody who's at the bar with you, enjoying the game, dreading that last call, but somehow he was able to make it so far in the league, man. So you got to salute to that guy for his years of service to the National Football League.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, speaking of the National Football League, we got a lot of news this week in the NFL.
The All Things Sport Hot Topic.
With the draft coming up, next week, got a lot of trades going on, free agents still, trying to get signed. But speaking of the draft, Pierre, do you believe what the Philadelphia Eagles did to move up, trading all those picks to move up to the number 2 spot in this upcoming draft?
Not at all. Not at all. And with them signing Sam Bradford to the deal that they did, or to the deal that they did just a few weeks ago, and then signing Chase Daniel, the last thing you would expect for them to do would be to move up to the second pick to try to pick up one of those quarterbacks, whether it's Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, there in the first round. Because why would you give Sam Bradford, as often injured as he is, that kind of money? Though it's a 2-year deal with a team option after the first year. But why would you give him that much money and then bring in Chase Daniel if you're just going to try to trade up to get a quarterback? It just doesn't make much sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to pay Chase Daniel $7 million a year, but I digress. I'm assuming that, the LA Rams select Jared Goff with the number 1 pick. I'm thinking that Philadelphia moved up so they could select North Dakota State's Carson Wentz with the number 2 pick.
Heck of a football player.
Big, mobile, young quarterback. Looks to, they're going to take a risk on him and make him the number 2 pick in the draft, which is kind of odd because you do have the often injured Sam Bradford, but you just paid him, a pretty nice contract, but that contract really doesn't mean anything. It's the NFL. They can release you tomorrow if they want to. But, they traded all those draft picks and, I don't know exactly who's going to protect Carson Wentz if they do draft him, but it looks like they're going to take their chances with Carson Wentz at that number 2 pick. So they made the bold move to trade with the Cleveland Browns for number 2. So it looks like Cleveland is gonna hold pat with RG3 with Robert Griffin III, and I like that move by Cleveland. You get a couple draft picks, you're gonna build your franchise with several other draft picks. Keep RG3, try to keep him healthy. He can't do any worse than a rookie would do at that position. You save some money, you gain draft picks, and you try to build your franchise through the draft.
And I may be wrong, but we probably won't know for about 3 or 4 years from now. But I think the Cleveland Browns actually came out the winner in that trade. They get, like you said, a number of picks to try to build their franchise, and that's what they need. They've been going about it all wrong for years now, and we could say it's all wrong because of the play on the field, but they've been trying to use those high draft picks to get a quarterback, to get, just one piece to try to add to the puzzle and think that that's what's going to make them successful. But now they can go about picking several different pieces to add to that puzzle to make themselves successful. And I think them, along with the Tennessee Titans, heck of a trade to trade those top picks to get multiple picks to build those franchises. As we all know, the Titans already have Marcus Mariota. Their offense is trending upward. And now they have all those picks to try to solidify their defense or shore up any holes that they may see in the offensive side. And then the Cleveland Browns, we all know they need a lot of assistance. So they don't have to try to get one marquee guy and put the pressure of the entire state of Ohio, and their fans are very, very loyal. So when you put that kind of pressure on one person and you put them in a situation where they're on an awful team, that's just asking a lot of anybody. Just ask Johnny Manziel. That guy's loaded with talent. Put that much pressure on a Brady Quinn or
what about Tim Couch? You remember Tim Couch?
Or anybody that you try to put in that situation.
Yeah, the Browns looks like they're going to be picking several times, in this upcoming draft. And I think the Browns, you want to keep a lookout on the Browns this season. I think they're going to be much improved. Offensively, they're going to be much improved with, Hugh Jackson, being the head coach now. He actually turned Andy Dalton into a pretty good quarterback in Cincinnati. So, with RG3's talent, I think they're going to be good offensively. Just remains to be seen if they can protect RG3, what they're going to do on the defensive side of the ball. They lost a lot of players, but again, with that trade with the Eagles, they gained draft picks. They can really load up in the draft. Now, moving on with more NFL news. I'm not a Carolina Panthers fan. I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan, but I do reside in the state of North Carolina. The Carolina Panthers, GM Dave Gettleman, called cornerback Josh Norman's bluff. They franchise tagged Norman at first. He didn't sign the franchise tag. Then they rescinded it, making him an unrestricted free agent. Like, Norman wanted to get paid. He had a phenomenal all-pro season this year. Carolina came up a tad bit short in the Super Bowl. Norman wanted to get paid about $16 million a year. Carolina wasn't having it. Norman was on every TV show screaming to the world how much he wanted to get paid, screaming that, just talking. Dave Gettleman, he wasn't having it. Carolina Panthers, they weren't having it. And they just straight disrespected him. And just like, okay, we're not going to sign you. We're not even going to try to trade you. We're just going to not sign you and go ahead and make you an unrestricted free agent. What is going on in Charlotte with the Carolina Panthers and Dave Gettleman just letting Josh Norman walk out the door? That guy was pretty damn impressive this season for the Carolina Panthers. Key cog in that defense. I know Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, that defensive line played a major role in that success. But Josh Norman was a lockdown cornerback in that secondary. Made a lot of plays for the Panthers this season. Shut down a lot of top tier wide receivers. Why did the Panthers feel the need to just let him walk out of the building?
Well, the explanation that the GM gave, which was, a pretty corporate answer, is you can't keep everybody. They've given a lot of money in this offseason to Luke Kuechly. They've given a lot of money in this offseason to Cam Newton. They've given a lot of money to their superstar tight end,
Greg Olsen.
And he's just saying, hey, we can't keep everybody. If you give max money to all these guys, then you don't have enough money to keep the pieces or most of the pieces in place to where what got you darn near to the promised land and winning Super Bowl 50 this past season. So you can look at this deal from a couple different views.